Today I want to talk to you about the secret ingredient of healthy communication. Recently, my wife and I had the opportunity to speak at a couples retreat about communication. And I realized through that process, really a foundational principle that applies to communication everywhere. And boiled it down to one word, and that word is empathy.
And this works in any communication context. If you are in conflict with your spouse, I'm sure that never happens to you.
It happens to me.
But when you're in that moment of frustration, of conflict, you can tell your spouse, hey, don't be mad.
And I will say I've tried that, and it didn't work to not make them mad. Instead, it actually it made her feel even further from me. And what I've found is just by applying empathy, all of a sudden, if I'm willing to do my best, to think like she might think, to feel like she might feel, and even articulate, if that happened to me, I could imagine feeling, and then you fill in the blank. And if you even get remotely close, all of a sudden the tension's gone, and the conflict, it doesn't matter who did what or when. Now you're on a level ground, and you guys can come up with a solution together. So it works in relationships. Also thinks it works with those that you lead. When you study why people leave jobs, the truth is, in surveys, people don't leave companies and they don't leave jobs or positions. Most of the time, people leave bosses. They're done working for that leader.
And so we have found that we can inspire people to move towards success more by coming alongside empathetically and realizing, what is it that you want in life? How can we work together in this leadership context to help you get what you want in life? That is better motivation than any paycheck.
Early on in my leadership as a Christian leader, and I've had opportunities now in both in the church world and in the business world to lead, I led in a way that was like, hey, I'm going to give you this task, but don't mess up our success. And today, I'm just finding more leadership when instead of don't mess up our success, the thing I'm thinking about is how can I make you a success?
In fact, it goes a long ways in every single conversation your organization is going to have with any audience out there that you choose. That is, this is marketing. This is how you can communicate with the world around you, not just, hey, come to our thing, but how can we come alongside and intersect with your hopes, your dreams, your fears, and lead us together to a place in life that we both want.
And what if your outreach, your marketing, your messaging, your social media posts, that the invite card wasn't just about you, and it wasn't about what you're offering as a service, but it was about the person who's going to receive it, the person that was going to read it. What are their hopes? What are their fears? What if somehow we could create communication that came alongside the dreams of those in your community, that came alongside the felt need and the pain in your community? What if you could be seen as a resource to help with communication and marriage and life and finance and fulfillment and legacy? And if you're watching this and you lead in the church world, you're probably thinking that's every bit of what I would want to communicate. But all too often, it's like the last thing we think about when we go to communicate.
And yet, this pattern for marketing, if you're marketing a church, if you're spreading the gospel, we can take this pattern back to Jesus Christ himself, who was God and had every right to speak from heaven and tell us the way we should live and what we should do. But he came down. He became one of us, felt everything that we feel in our human experience, felt the pains, the sorrows, even death. He bridged the gap from his side. He came to us, felt what we felt. He empathized with us in order to save us. I think we can take the same pattern to all of our communication, especially as we communicate to the world around us, trying to spread a message of life change. In order for them to hear it, we're going to have to cross the gap. We're going to have to do the hard work, climbing inside their head, figuring out what is driving them, what is keeping them up at night, and how can we show them the intersection between what they want and need and hope for and everything that God has for them, everything that we're doing for them. Where is that intersection?
Right, so stay tuned, your likes and your comments, your shares, you can follow the pages so that you can be a part of this conversation. In fact, we'd love to hear how you're applying empathy. We know that we're not the first ones to ever talk about this, not in a long shot. So I'd love to know, how are you seeing empathy work in your leadership context, in your marketing, or even in your marriage? How is empathy working? And then stay tuned, because the next couple videos we're going to be talking about how to, really some very practical ways, how to apply this conversation when it comes to internal, external communication.
I'll see you then.
Peace.